is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sub Homeslice. It is Thursday afternoon. I am SoCal Bomb Nerd, IDP Iggy. Hopefully, we'll be joining us shortly. But no, we need to worry. We got a 4-game NBA slate tonight. We got Week 9, Thursday night football. And it's not just me today. We got a special guest on Sub Homeslice, good friend of ours. Bring him in here. He is Ahaan Rungta. Ahaan, how you doing, my man?
What's up? Not too bad. Good to see you. It's been a while. I think this is the first time I'm seeing you without a hat on, so even better. We got a weird slate today. We got 4 NBA games, all of which have potential to be pretty ugly, and an NFL game which already people are calling ugly. So this is where I thrive, so hopefully I can give out some winners.
Yeah, that's what we want to do, man. Give out some winners, right? We want to stack that dough, right? We have our bankroll. We talk about pizza and sports all the time, right? It's a great combination. We talk about our bankroll being our dough roll here, right? We want that dough to rise 1 unit at a time, maybe multiple units at a time, however we can do it. We've had a pretty good season so far in the NFL. I don't have the chart pulled up in front of me. Iggy's usually got it, but I think we were up about 15 or 16 units going into last week. We played it pretty safe. We didn't have too many bets that we gave out. I know with Matt Stafford over on his pass attempts, which came down to the 3rd and long, and they throw the ball to get the 34th attempt. But I'll never apologize for being a little lucky, Ahaan, because the books get us plenty, right?
Yeah. I mean, we always complain about I feel like every one of us has so many occasions of complaining about bad beats. If we get one good beat a month, honestly, you take it and run.
Take it and run. What's up, Daniel? Thanks for joining us. Everybody else, appreciate you, man. Make sure to smash that like button, share. Drop any comments you have for the NBA tonight, any NFL action, you got a play you like. Let's talk some NFL, man. It's Week 9. What are your thoughts on the NFL season briefly?
I mean, I've had a good time overall. I mean, last year I was pretty mediocre all season long on Sundays and absolutely dominant on primetime games, which is, I mean, people called me primetime Ahaan because there'd be some people who just wouldn't tail me on Sundays because it was such a roller coaster, and would only tail me on primetime. And this year it's been a mix of both, and honestly, it's been fun. It's been fun with this rookie class too. Just a lot of players that are not necessarily the CJ Strouds of the world. Ironically, there's a CJ Stroud game today, but a lot of rookies that have risen slowly. And it feels like that's been the case with a lot of the veterans too. And we'll talk a little bit about this Texans Jets game. This is an example of being ahead of the market is so nice, and knowing ball is so nice. Because once you get into Week 9, you were halfway through the season, a lot of people are in pain from all the quote-unquote weird stuff that's happening. But, yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed the NFL season so far, and we have a weird game tonight. And for those of you who don't know, these are the games where I go kind of crazy and have a little bit of more exposure than normal. Hopefully it doesn't burn me today.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I almost feel like, for me, I'm a little bit of the opposite, at least on this game. I mean, I love to find, those plays that the books maybe aren't looking at. I know there's a few of those tonight. I'll be interested to see if you bring up some of the guys that I like as well. But I feel like this game and these two teams and where they're both at, I mean, we know how bad the Jets have been, right? But they are at home tonight, right? So it's can they rise up with any type of, muster, and we want to save our season if it's even possible. And then a Texans team that, has looked offbeat, if you will, offensively, kind of outside of Joe Mixon, who's just been amazing every game he plays, right? I think he's had over 100 yards. Passing game not really there. Jets defense banged up. Tank Dell didn't rise to the occasion last week. They played a Colts team that you want to see on offense. I mean, you thought Houston would have a field day, right? I did. And they didn't. So now they go a short week on the road to the Jets, who, like we said, are just super ugly. And so I don't know what to expect tonight. I have a few looks and a few angles, but I just feel like this game could go either way. I do expect a heavy dose of Joe Mixon. I would expect the Jets to give us a heavy dose of Breece Hall, but I don't know. The Jets last week, we saw Braylon Allen get, 12 more carries, and they're not using Breece the way that I believe, and I don't know if you agree with that they should be to get this offense going. and you got to neutralize this Houston pass rush, right? So I would think they would run the ball there. You can throw on Houston a little bit too. Can they keep Rodgers upright? I think there's a lot of questions, and it's kind of got me not totally stay away because I'll never fully stay away, Ahaan. That's just no fun. I mean, I can't do that. But when you look at tonight, I mean, it's Houston Texans at the Jets. The over-under, last time I saw, 42. Texans, 2-point favorites, if I'm not mistaken. So I kind of broke it down. What do you see tonight as far as the matchup? What do you see on the side, the over-under, and then whatever else you got going on tonight, man?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I just want it to be known that most betting sites that show you some sort of splits, first of all, most of them are not fully accurate. Like, let's just let that be out there. Like, especially on these primetime games, people say like, "Oh, everybody's on the same side." Like, you're probably wrong. It's usually not the case that everyone's on the same side. And today, it looks like most of from the slightly more reliable sources, most of the bets are on the Texans today, but most of the sharp money is on the Jets. And that makes sense to me that the Jets like that the squares or that the sharps like the Jets today, because you take a look at like this Jets team and overall, and it's like Devontae Adams was a panic move for them. Like, yeah, we're not making the playoffs unless we have multiple alphas on this team in Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams, because Aaron Rodgers coming off the season-ending injury. He's not the same, and this Jets run defense has not been great. Sauce Gardner, by the way, has not been as great as he was last year. So it makes sense to me that a lot of the, it looks like the sharp side might be the Jets. To me, it's just like, don't overthink it. CJ Stroud without Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins is still a more trustworthy pass game than Aaron Rodgers with his fully healthy pass catching staff right now. And that's why I'm on Texans team total over 20.5, and it's plus money on Caesars right now. Like, this is a play that not many people will want because, yeah, he's without his top two weapons right now. But like you said, there's going to be a lot of Joe Mixon. The Jets' run defense has simply not been phenomenal this year. And most importantly, like, people talk a lot about the Jets sending a lot of pressure. Bobby Slowick, to me, and maybe some Texans fans will not agree with this, but Bobby Slowick, to me, is a good offensive coordinator. I mean, he knows, if we know that the Jets are going to send pressure, he knows that the Jets are going to send pressure. And yes, none of the Texans pass catchers, jump off the page, right? Tank Dell, like, give him a break. He got shot in the offseason on the leg. Maybe that's affecting his route running. Like, yeah, give him a break. He's not exactly who he was last year. And Xavier Hutchinson is a guy that they're going to have to rely on a lot today, and it's why I also like Xavier Hutchinson over 19.5 receiving yards. But Xavier Hutchinson was not a great prospect at all. Like, there's a reason he was a 6th-round draft pick. He was a below-average route runner against man, against zone. But to me, this all comes down to the fact that the Jets play man at one of the highest rates in the league. And C.J. Stroud this season against man, of course, he's had Nico Collins and or Stephon Diggs for a lot of that. But he's one of the best-rated quarterbacks against man coverage. And if you look at stuff that doesn't really depend on his receiving core, such as accuracy rating, he ranks number 5 in accuracy rating against man coverage. This is a player who, before he got drafted, I said will be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL one day. I think he's the 3rd best, at worst 4th best quarterback in the NFL right now. So I actually lean the Texans to win this game, but I think the safest way to play it is back their offense, buy low, buy the bad news of Collins and Diggs being out, and just realize the Jets are frauds.
There it is. The Jets are frauds. There we go. We got Quentin. Ahaan is a Rodgers hater. So there it is. A Rodgers hater and a Jets hater, clearly. But, I mean, there's not a lot to like about this Jets team. And Aaron Rodgers is clearly not the same player, that he was. And, I mean, personally, he was falling off at the end of that season in Green Bay. And everybody said he didn't want to be there. And, I don't know. The play didn't show me anything, right? He lost that last game against Detroit. They didn't make the playoffs. He leaves, gets hurt, and here we are. The Jets are going down big time. But back to tonight, I like the Hutchinson call, man, and that's kind of what I mean about which way to go, because I feel like you got John Mechie. You even got old, reliable Mr. Robert Woods. I promise you he'll move the chains at least one time tonight. He might only have a catch or two, but it'll probably be for a first down, right? And so, Stroud is good enough to use those guys, and so it may not be pretty, but he will find a way. And Joe Mixon, it's just – it's going to be the Joe Mixon show tonight. I know everybody is over on Mixon's yards. They are high. Personally, I like Mixon. I'm going to go the route. I know it's about probably minus 150, but I'm going to play Mixon to get in the end zone. I just think that he's got to get a touchdown. I feel like the way this game could go, you talked about the Sharps being on the Jets. It just makes me leery that the game won't play out the way we think, right? That Mixon's just going to go in and run all over him because we all think that's what's going to happen. So there's, I don't want to overthink it sometimes, but I just feel like we could see a Jets team maybe rejuvenated at home, play up tonight, and maybe Mixon rushes for 70 yards and a touchdown. Has a great game, but he doesn't hit that 83, 84, 85 mark. But they're going to give him the ball in the red zone, right? And you're talking about, scoring 2 or 3 touchdowns tonight for Houston. So I like that play with Mixon. And I couldn't decide, man. I liked Mechie. I liked Woods. I liked Hutchinson. I didn't play any of those, but I like any of those. I mean, I would not be surprised if all 3 of those guys go over what their numbers are because they're both – I think Mechie was at 21.5 when I saw it. They're low. They're really low numbers, Ahaan. For all these guys. But somebody has to catch the football for this Houston Texans team. And so I think any look that you play there with one of those role players, I understand that look, right? You got a reason to play it. I think all those guys can go over. So I'm not mad at that at all. You saw Mechie last week. His target share and snap percentage should go up, right? Diggs only played about half the game. But in limited playing time, Mechie did have 4 targets. So you got to think that he sees some type of volume like that today. So I don't mind over 21.5 on John Mechie as well. Jets sides of things, you got anything you like on the Jets side of the ball at all?
Yeah, I have a complete long shot on the Jets side, and there's nothing that I would gun to my head like I have to win a play with the Jets today because I'm just simply not going to trust Aaron Rodgers and simply like. If you can call me a Rodgers hater, like I'm not in the business of being controversial. I'm in the business of being correct, and the correct thing to realize right now is that Aaron Rodgers cannot be trusted. But I think there's value with Mike Williams today because Allen Lazard is out. Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson are obviously priced like they are Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson. If you agree with me that this game should be pretty competitive, if you agree with me that the Jets may have to play behind at some point, Aaron Rodgers needs one of those guys where like no one's open. Let me force the ball to this guy to get those contested catches. And that's kind of like been Allen Lazard, like his whole career. He brought Allen Lazard onto this team to be like, yeah, when I'm in trouble, I know you're not going to separate, but let me just throw you like a box out sort of catch and please catch it. And that'll help me move the chains. That has to be Mike Williams today. And yes, Mike Williams is not the player he used to be. A lot of injuries, et cetera, et cetera. But he will get a lot of those forced targets today against a Texans team that kind of splits their man and zone coverage pretty equally. But the Texans are very effective when they are playing zone. They're not as effective when they are playing man coverage, which they do 26% of the time. And Mike Williams already has a 13% target rate in man coverage this season, and now he's going to be filling in for that Allen Lazard role. So I actually just sprinkled Mike Williams to score an anytime touchdown. And then I use my FanDuel boost on Mike Williams to score the first touchdown at plus 3,250 with the boost. So just a complete long shot. This guy might catch one pass the whole night, but if it's a 20-yard bomb that were like a jump ball, I'm happy.
Hey, nothing wrong with that kind of number right there. Rodgers has been slanging the rock. He's been throwing the ball a lot, and if you're a believer that the Texans are going to go over that 20.5, the Texans are going to control this game and put up points, whether Breece Hall is really involved or not, this Jets team's going to have to throw the football, which means there's going to have to be other guys involved. And you're looking for an angle, right? Adams and Wilson are priced how they're priced. Like, I think I was looking at Tyler Conklin as well. I feel like maybe, you get him kind of in that slot mid-range area. Rodgers goes there for a safety valve. So I like the Williams call. I don't know what this Jets offense is really going to look like tonight. There we go. We got snagged Hutchinson over 20.5. We like it. Taylor, thoughts on Braylon Allen over 4.5 reception yards? Again, for me, I just don't know what this team's going to do. Last week, we saw Braylon out there a lot. I feel like tonight, the Jets might respond to the public cry of it should be Breece Hall. It should be Breece Hall. That doesn't mean Braylon Allen won't see the field, but I know it's a really low number. I have no issue going after low numbers. For me, I don't know what this Jets offense looks like tonight. I feel like we just could see the Breece show, and then them airing it out when they have to if they're behind. So I don't know what you think about that, Ahaan.
My thoughts exactly on the fact that I don't want to put a unit on the line on the Jets, on hoping the Jets do what I want them to do. But Braylon Allen over 4.5 receiving yards is in a parlay of mine tonight. I post all my long shots in the Parlay Science Discord where I work in my channel. If you want to see my parlays, you can go there. And it is in one of my parlays.
There you go. So there it is. He likes it. There we are. We got Garrett Wilson, longest reception, 22.5. I got no issues with that. I mean, Garrett Wilson clearly is still being targeted. Devontae Adams being there isn't hurting Garrett Wilson's involvement. And we know how good Garrett Wilson can be. So I have no issue with that one there. Conklin under 14.5. I like that too. I think you're going to get short intermediate throws to Conklin, and they're going to be, he's not going to really get that yak and, yards after the catch. So I'm okay with both those. What do you like? You like those two right there?
Yeah, I don't mind it. And if he's saying that Dr. Prophet loves him, Dr. Prophet's my boy. I'm never gonna, or most of the time, I'm not gonna just say fade Dr. Prophet because that's my boy. If you want a tight end where you can't really take any of his normal lines, but you're looking for if there's a game where some quote unquote rando, according to the casual fans, scores a touchdown or has a big game and vultures from the starter. There is a tight end in this game that's gotten 14, 8, and 12 routes in each of his last 3 games. He's a better tight end athletically than, one of his teammates. He's probably the best pure athlete in his tight end room. He's not the starter. Cade Stover might make an impact on this game just out of need, and especially with the Jets playing a lot of man coverage. There we go. Yep, it's Cade Stover. So if Cade Stover does something today, you heard it here first. You probably heard it somewhere else first, but I'm going to claim that you heard it here first. And I may or may not be looking at him live, just in case if he does step on the field once, I may look at him live to score a touchdown.
I like that call right there. I did hear that elsewhere and then looked into it. Anytime touchdown for Stover, first touchdown, some of these long shot plays on guys that like to look for those dark horse touchdowns. So heard it there, heard it here. I also was looking at that. So, hey, why not? I think that's definitely worth a little sprinkle. I like how you mentioned looking at it live, see if he's out there. But, for the number that he's got as an anytime or especially first touchdown of the game, it would be wild. But anytime touchdown, a sprinkle doesn't hurt, So, so it sounds like you're on the Texans tonight. You think they cover the 2?
Yeah, I think so. The play I'm on is, again, over 20.5 team total. I think it's possible the Jets could win this game 24-21. I'm just not going to, I can't go to sleep at night if, I either fade or back this Jets offense and I get burned because I didn't just trust my gut, which is that CJ Stroud has no problems tonight.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like I said, I will not be surprised this game going either way. I think it's easy for a lot of people to say, oh, Houston this, Houston that, but they haven't exactly been beautiful to watch, and so it's hard to back on short rest. I think they are the better team, but this Jets team has been disappointing, so I would not be surprised to see that same type of thing. I like the over for Houston points, though. Before we get into some NBA tonight, do you have anything else this weekend on Week 9 that you already got that you really like that you want to give out?
No, I'm not going to give anything out unless I've locked it in myself, and I start locking things in Friday morning when it comes to Sunday. Just observe line movement, stuff like that. This week happens to be a pivotal one for some of my futures as well because every time the Bengals play, I'm rooting against them. It was one of my biggest futures. They're under on wins, but also I have a long shot on the Saints to have the worst record in the NFL from the preseason, which is at plus 2,500. They started 2-0, and all of a sudden we have life. So they're heavy favorites against Carolina, but for the first time all season, I'm rooting for a Bryce Young team. So a lot of investment already for me this weekend. So not going to add anything in particular, but chances are I'm going to have something in this Cowboys-Falcons game because those two defenses, I mean, they've been cash machines when it comes to fading those two defenses. I've found the right spots every single week against them. So look out for a potential player or two from me on Twitter or whatever in that game. But yeah, nothing locked in yet.
Nice. I like it. I mean, I think CeeDee Lamb was probably the first thing I looked at just to see where that line was in that matchup for that reason. Falcons giving up a ton. They cannot stop anything in the slot. Cowboys have to feed Lamb. I know it'll be a popular play, but I think his yards were at 84.5. They're probably creeping up here little by little. But there you have it, man. So make sure you're following at Ahaan Rungta on the X right there. Probably see some more plays, I'm sure, before the weekend. He's got the Parlay Science. He's got his Discord. Follow him, shoot him a message, get involved with what he's doing. Because as you can tell, he's got some awesome stuff going on. I'm going to play a quick promo from our sponsor, and then we'll get into some NBA.
Find your win tuition and elevate your sports betting with Better Takes. Better Takes examines your betting history to uncover hidden areas that cause bankroll leaks. Uncover patterns and biases so you can break the cycle of mistakes, avoid weaknesses, and play into your strengths. Our advanced stats offer unparalleled granularity, helping you immediately spot problem areas that could be affecting your success. Use the Better Takes Edge score to gauge your expertise for each potential bet, providing clarity and confidence in your decisions. Take control of your betting journey. Download Better Takes from the Apple App Store or Google Play today and start understanding your biases for free. Before placing bets, check with Better Takes, a smarter, more informed approach to sports betting.
There it is, Better Takes. We appreciate them for being our sponsor. They are on Android and Apple. If you haven't downloaded the app, it's free. Put in the bet that you like. What it does, it gives you an edge score, Ahaan. It basically, if you like, playing team total points, it's going to tell you all your history of when you bet the over or under on a team total and give you a success rate. So you're looking for that 50-plus number, just like in betting, right? We're looking for anything above 50%. You're hitting 60%. You're amazing. You should probably go and plan your future on the casinos if you're hitting 60%. But so we're looking for that score over 50, man. It's pretty cool. It's just another way to just kind of look at another angle. If I feel like I constantly like this look, but I'm not fulfilling them and cashing out, maybe I'm missing something in my research, right? So just adds a nice little angle. It's free. Download Better Takes today. And before we get out of here, we now have some NBA, right? First few weeks, it was all NFL. Now we get some NBA on Sub Homeslice. We love it. We got a 4-game slate tonight. I know there's 2 games that we want to talk about that Ahaan has some plays for us. So first game we'll look at tonight, Ahaan, is the Milwaukee Bucks headed to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. Total 232.5. Bucks are favored 6.5 here. What are you thinking on this game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, most of my NBA plays, have historically have been props, but my favorite look here is actually a side, and this is a matchup between a team that I really don't like backing at all because they're always so overpriced, and they have a head coach who I have just never in my life once trusted, and a team that I loved backing last year in the Grizzlies. Last year, the G League Grizzlies, with pretty much everybody out, beat the Bucks outright on their home court. I think they were like 14-point underdogs or something. Today, it's not an easy button for me to click because I don't like backing the Bucks, especially when they're favorites. But I'm on the Bucks -6 today. I locked this in the morning, and it kind of the juice moved up and down a little bit. I'm not really scared off by it because there's some nice systems on this as well. I use Trend Center app, by the way, for those who want to find systems like these yourself. And you can use, you can get a premium membership there. But I found one today that's one of the top systems on the day, which is in Vegas totals of at least 188 since 2001. Road favorites have up to 11.5 with at least 2 days rest and a sub 600 record, facing a team that's playing their third game in 4 days, which is the situation with the Bucks here. This is a 93-35-4 against the spread system. If you blindly tailed that system since 2001, that's a plus 37.5% ROI. It's also a slightly similar but different system is road teams that aren't 15.5+ point favorites on 2+ days rest, facing teams on the second leg of a home back-to-back, are 51-17-1 against the spread for a 42.6% ROI. Now, usually I don't love, selling the bad news of all the, the injury roulette going on in Memphis, but I think this kind of just cancels out with the fact that the public have been sold a lot of coin by the Bucks over the first few days of the season. They lost outright to the Bulls, for example, just a couple of days ago. And this is maybe a kind of day where people are like, they're facing a pretty tough defense in Memphis that they had trouble with last year. Maybe the Bucks actually just suck and they continue, rolling through the mud. And then Memphis, on the other hand, they, surely they bounce back after an upset defeat last night, right? But I think this is just a don't overthink it spot. Follow the systems. The Grizzlies are super, super tired. The players that are going to play, Jaren, Zach Edey is a guy who is just simply not built for the long haul of playing an NBA grind of a regular season. I think the quickness of Giannis, the stretchability of the floor, just made that phrase up, by Brook Lopez. That's going to cost the Grizzlies here, and Bucks blow them out.
There we go. I mean, all signs point to that. Love the numbers, love the breakdown. And hey, I guess if the Bucks don't get it done tonight, then like Ahaan said, maybe the Bucks just suck and things are a little different this year than we're used to there in Milwaukee. But I mean, all signs point to a Bucks win tonight. So love the call there. We got Bert. Do we have King of the Court tonight?
Yeah, I mean, so the for those who don't know what's going on there, so DraftKings has a King of the Court promo that's active till tomorrow. It's your last opportunity is tomorrow, where essentially you make a bet on any player on their over, like in points, rebounds, assists, threes, combo, whatever. And obviously you get a boost on it. Obviously if you win the bet, you get the money from winning the bet. But also if your player happens to lead that day's games in points plus rebounds plus assists, you get a share of bonus bets for $1 million. So the biggest one I think so far has been LaMelo Ball a few days ago. He was the King of the Court, and you got a share of $1 million. Since he wasn't that popular of a pick, you each got an $1,100 bonus. Now, I've only called the King of the Court once. I've hit my actual bet on this promo 3 times, but I only called the King of the Court once, which was opening day with Anthony Davis. I feel like I need to hit, I need to find the actual King of the Court one more time before this promo ends. Today, I'm taking my time with it, have not picked yet. I think Lauri Markkanen is in an amazing spot in a game that could be competitive. The problem is he's a little banged up and he's questionable. So once those lineups are confirmed, then I will decide if I'm going the Lauri Markkanen route or I'm going, the chalkier route with, playing Giannis in some way. But I really want Lauri to play and not be on a minutes restriction because I think, like I said, the Bucks game could be a blowout. So I think this might be the day where one of those middle-of-the-pack guys, like a Victor, like a Lauri Markkanen, can be the King of the Court. So I'm going to wait on that and then post in the Discord when I've decided.
There you go. We posted in the Discord for you there. King of the Court action tonight. We're going to get into one more game. I know we got 2 other games on the slate tonight, Rockets and Mavs and Spurs Jazz, but I know Ahaan doesn't have anything on either of those. I'll mention real quick, I do like Chris Paul tonight in the Spurs game, over 7.5 assists. I think that matchup is just too good. Utah just getting sliced and diced. Wemby had 6 points last night. He still cleared that number. I think we see a high-scoring game here. Maybe Utah gets off the snide. I don't know which side to be on, but I do think Chris Paul provides plenty of assists in this game. So I am over on Chris Paul tonight on the assist, Ahaan, at over 7.5. And so we can wrap it up for you to get out of here quick enough. Let's get into the Suns and Clippers. I know you got a side and a prop in that one for us, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 plays for you in this one, and this is just the 3-1 Suns facing a 2-2 Clippers. And if you know me, you know that I think Ty Lue is actually one of the few really good coaches in the NBA, and I think the Suns roster is probably going to win a lot of regular season games. It's going to make the playoffs, but I just don't think that the way they performed so far is actually representative of who this team really is. This team is really not is really not deep defensively. Mike Budenholzer is a solid offensive-minded coach. I've never liked his defensive schemes. So I think the Suns are kind of fake. And I'll just say it as clearly as that. I think the public will look at this and say, okay, the Suns have looked fantastic, have a rest advantage here against a Clippers team that just lost a thriller to the freaking Portland Trailblazers, right? No shot the Clippers, come back and actually just win outright, right? Right? No shot they win outright. I'm going to take the points here with the Clippers. I'm taking Clippers plus 4.5. And we got another really nice system on this one. One of those systems where if you blindly tail, you're going to be very, very profitable long-term if you blindly tail the system. Again, since 2001, in Vegas totals that aren't outliers, so between 174.5 and 231, Western Conference teams in game 3 to 6 with spreads between plus 13 and minus 11. So we're, again, taking away the outlier spreads, coming off a straight up and against the spread loss, facing a team with an equal or better win percentage, coming off a home win, which is the situation the Suns are in. Backing the Clippers situation here is a 94 and 32 and 3 against the spread system. Blindly tailing that system would give you a plus 41.4% ROI. So I think this game is super competitive, kind of like the opening night game between these two teams a few days ago. I think the Clippers perhaps win outright, but give me the points, Clippers plus 4.5. You're getting to some key NBA margin of victory numbers there with that number.
Perfect. There you go. I'd like them to possibly win outright, getting some points there over possession. Nothing wrong with that. And then you got a prop in this one for us.
Yeah, and it's probably the weirdest prop you could possibly take on the board tonight, but that's my music. Terrence Mann is the exact kind of role player that is not really a fit to play in all these Western Conference matchups, but is a great fit in this matchup against the Suns. And if you look at his playing time, last year in the 3 games where he didn't get hurt, 23 minutes, 28 minutes, 38 minutes in 3 healthy games against these Suns last season, and a season-high 27 regulation minutes in the opener versus Phoenix this year, and he didn't, come close to that playing time in the other games. So this is the kind of matchup where he's going to get a lot of run, and if you agree with me that this game is going to be close, that would mean that he would get at least 25 minutes. And despite his spotty playing time, if you just normalize for 25 minutes, Terrence Mann has averaged 1.7 3-point attempts per 25 minutes this season, and every single one of his attempts this season have been classified as wide open per NBA stats, and wide open means there's not a man within 6 feet of you. So the problem is he's 0 for 6 this season. He's made none of them. But professionals figure it out eventually. They regress to the mean. This man's a professional. I think we get a couple more wide open attempts out of him tonight in a Phoenix matchup that has left role players wide open plenty of times. When Budenholzer was coaching the Bucks, they would also leave role players wide open all the time for catch and shoot opportunities. So I think we get a couple attempts out of him. If you run the numbers, if you assume around 1.75 to 2 3-point attempts, and you assume his usual home shooting percentage around 35%, I did the math on this, and this realistically should be around minus 135, minus 140. But I got Terrence Mann over half a 3-pointer made at minus 115.
There it is. All the numbers broken down, why he should do it, get the attempts, have a chance at it. Guy that hit plenty of shots last year right in the same situation. So there's got to be a night that he does it. Why not tonight? All right, Ahaan, let's real quick. Why don't you just run through the picks you gave, NFL, NBA, boom, boom, boom. Let everybody know where they can find you, and then we'll let everybody get out of here.
Yeah, so NFL, we got Thursday Night Football, my 2 official bets. Texans team total over 20.5. Right now, your best price is plus 110 at Caesars. Xavier Hutchinson over 19.5 receiving yards is your prop. Best price minus 110 on FanDuel. It looks like it's moved a couple places to 20.5 by now, but there's still some 19.5s around there. And if he finishes on 20 and you paid up the 20.5, you're not going to sleep at night, so go get your 19.5. And then in the NBA, I got 2 sides, Bucks minus 6 and Clippers plus 4.5. And then my prop of the night, Terrence Mann over half a 3-pointer made minus 115 on DraftKings.
There it is. And where can everybody find you, Ahaan?
Yeah, I'm at Twitter at Ahaan Rungta. I tweet a lot, so if you are okay with seeing my notifications about MLB, WNBA, NBA, NFL, some random thoughts about sports throughout the year, you're okay with your timeline getting spammed, you can go ahead, follow me there. And if you want all my bets with parlays, long shots, everything, first touchdown, stuff like that, I'm in the Parlay Signs Discord. I have my own channel there called Ahaan's Plays, so you can find me there as well.
There it is. Perfect. Drop him a follow, shoot him a message. He's got the info you need. You heard the numbers. You heard the breakdowns. Great stuff, Ahaan, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on. It's great to see you. Glad you're doing well. With that, best of luck to everybody tonight. You got any other plays? Drop them. Let us know what you think. Any questions, hit us up. We'll be back next Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern, for another episode of Sub Homeslice and Week 10 of some NFL. Catch you guys later.